Listening test instructions. The listening test is about 50 minutes. There are 6 parts in listening test. You will have about 6 minutes to listen to each passage and answer the questions. The passage will be played once.
Hey, you look concerned. What's on your mind?
The final exam. I'm not fully prepared yet.
Well, don't worry too much. You still have 3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days will fly past in a wink.
Well, you still have time to cram things in your brain anyway.
Question 1. Why is the man looked worried?
You will hear a conversation in 3 sections. You will hear each section only once. After each section, you will hear 2 or 3 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Excuse me, are you the artist working on this mural?
Yes, that's me. Is something wrong?
I'm with the city zoning department. I noticed your mural while conducting an inspection, and I need to inform you that it may be in violation of city codes regarding public art displays.
Really? I thought I was in the clear. I submitted the preliminary sketches weeks ago and didn't hear anything back.
That may be part of the issue. The content has changed from what was originally submitted. The current design includes commercial logos and text, which classifies it as advertising. That requires a different type of permit.
I see. That wasn't my intention. It's a tribute to local businesses that supported the community. It's meant as art, not advertisement.
I understand your intention, but the zoning board must evaluate it based on city code. We'll need to review whether this still qualifies as public art, or if it requires signage approval.
Why did the officer approach the artist? What does the officer imply about the mural's updated version? How does the artist justify the mural's content?
You will hear the second section of the conversation shortly.
So what are my options here? I've put a lot of time and community input into this piece. I'd hate to paint over it.
I understand. First, you could apply for a signage permit, but that might be complicated due to regulations on commercial advertising in residential zones.
That's tricky. Is it possible to make minor changes so the mural stays classified as public art?
Possibly, if the business names or logos are removed or stylized so they aren't directly promoting commerce, it could stay as art. We'd need to resubmit the updated version for review.
That sounds more manageable. What if I replace the names with abstract symbols that still honor those businesses but don't count as advertising?
That might work. If it's clear the mural isn't promoting specific services or products, we'd likely classify it as community art again. I'd suggest a short description to the board explaining the intent behind the symbols.
Okay, I can draft a halt any fines?
Yes, as long as you cooperate and submit a revision. We'll pause enforcement for now.
What seems to be the main reason the mural faces regulation issues? What does the officer suggest about the signage permit? Why would the mural need to be reviewed again?
You will hear the third section of the conversation shortly.
I really appreciate you giving me the chance to fix this. I'll revise the design and remove the direct references to the businesses.
That's great to hear. I'll make a note in the system that you're actively resolving the issue. That way, no further enforcement action is triggered.
Once I've made the edits, do I just resubmit it through the same portal?
Yes, and I recommend adding a brief letter explaining the changes. It helps the board understand your intent and makes approval more likely.
Perfect. I'll also reach out to the community sponsors and let them know about the adjustments. They've been supportive from the start.
That's a smart move. It shows good faith, and community backing often helps with approvals too.
Thanks again for being reasonable. It's good to know the city supports public art while maintaining fair guidelines.
Absolutely. We want to encourage creativity. We just have to make sure it stays within the zoning framework. Good luck with the update.
What will the officer not do if the artist cooperates? What is the main reason the officer suggests adding a letter?
You will hear a conversation followed by 5 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Good morning, Mr. Thompson. Have you noticed those little birds nesting on my balcony?
Good morning, Susan. Yes, I saw them just yesterday. Such lovely little creatures. It's quite a sight to have birds nesting so close to home.
I know. I was surprised when I first spotted the nest. I think it's a sparrow family. They seem so busy, coming and going all day.
Sparrows are very common around here. They're wonderful to watch, especially when they're feeding their chicks. Do you know how many eggs they have?
I'm not entirely sure, but I peeked in a little while ago and saw at least 3 tiny eggs. I've been careful not to disturb them, though. I don't want to scare the mother away.
That's very thoughtful of you. Birds can be quite sensitive during nesting. It's best to keep noise down and avoid touching the nest. Have you noticed if the mother bird is always around?
Mostly, yes. She spends a lot of time sitting on the eggs, but sometimes she flies off to find food. I also saw the father bird nearby, chirping and watching over the nest.
That's heartwarming to hear. They usually work together like that. I remember years ago, my wife and I used to watch the swallows building nests on our porch every spring.
Sounds lovely. I think having these birds around makes the whole place feel more alive. Plus, their chirping is quite soothing.
Absolutely. It's a reminder of how nature finds a way, even in the middle of the city. You're lucky to have such visitors. Are you planning to keep the balcony bird-friendly?
Definitely. I'm even thinking of putting up a small bird feeder once the chicks have grown. It feels good to help them.
That's wonderful, Susan. You're giving them a safe little haven. I'll stop by more often to see how they're doing.
Please do, Mr. Thompson. It'll be nice to share the experience with you.
What initially caught the woman off guard? How does Mr. Thompson appear to feel about the nesting birds? What conclusion can be drawn about the bird couple's behavior? How does the woman characterize the presence of the birds? What does Susan intend to do once the chicks are older?
You will hear a conversation followed by 6 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Thanks for meeting with me today. I've been working on a new escape room concept, but I want to make sure the experience feels more interactive and engaging for players. I was hoping you could give me some feedback.
Of course, I'd love to help. Could you start by telling me a bit about your current design and what you think might be lacking in terms of interactivity?
Sure. Right now, the room includes several puzzles that players need to solve sequentially, like decoding messages, unlocking boxes, and matching symbols. but I feel that the experience is a bit static. Players mainly just move from one puzzle to the next without opportunity for real interaction or collaboration.
That's a common challenge. Escape rooms thrive on player engagement and teamwork. One way to enhance interactivity is to include puzzles that require physical activity, not just mental problem solving. For example, puzzles that involve manipulating objects in the room, maybe rearranging furniture or using tools, can really draw players in.
That's a great idea. I was worried that might complicate things too much or slow down the pace, but I see how it could increase immersion.
Exactly. Also, consider integrating technology that responds to player actions, like sensors or interactive screens. For instance, a puzzle could change based on the player's choices, making the experience feel more dynamic and less predictable.
I love the idea of technology integration. Do you think it's important to have puzzles that require players to communicate with each other?
Definitely. Communication-based puzzles are excellent for promoting teamwork. You could design tasks where players have different pieces of information and must share clues to progress. This encourages collaboration and makes it more social.
That makes sense. What about giving players some freedom to choose which puzzles to solve, or the order in which they tackle them?
Offering multiple pathways is fantastic for interactivity. It allows players to make decisions and strategize as a group, which boosts engagement. Just make sure the puzzles are balanced in difficulty, so no one path is too easy or too hard.
Thanks. That's really helpful. I think with these suggestions, physical interaction, technology, communication, and multiple pathways, I can create a more immersive and interactive escape room experience.
Glad I could help. Let me know if you want to brainstorm specific puzzles or test any prototypes.
Why does the consultant suggest including physical tasks in the design? What is implied by the designer's concern about using physical elements? Which idea was proposed to make the puzzles feel less predictable? What strategy does the consultant imply would most effectively encourage group synergy? Why does the consultant emphasize tech-based puzzles? What is the main advantage highlighted for puzzles that require verbal coordination?
You will hear a news item once. It is about 1.5 minutes long. Then 5 questions will appear. Choose the best way to complete each statement from the drop-down menu.
An international ban on deep-sea mining has been agreed upon, marking a significant step in the global effort to conserve marine biodiversity. Deep-sea mining refers to the extraction of valuable minerals and metals from the ocean floor, particularly in areas called the seabed, which lie thousands of meters below the surface. These minerals include cobalt, nickel, copper, and rare earth elements that are essential for modern technologies such as smartphones, electric vehicles, and renewable energy systems. While deep-sea mining has been seen by some industries as a promising new source of minerals, scientists and environmentalists have long warned about the devastating impact it could have on fragile marine ecosystems. The deep ocean is home to a vast array of unique species, many of which are still undiscovered, and plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate by storing carbon. The decision to impose an international ban comes after years of research and intense negotiations under the framework of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Representatives from over 150 countries reached consensus that the risks posed by mining activities outweigh the potential economic benefits at this stage. Experts say that deep-sea mining could cause irreversible damage by destroying habitats, increasing sediment plumes that suffocate marine life, and disrupting the food chains that many ocean species depend on. Protecting marine biodiversity is vital not only for ocean health, but also for global food security and climate stability. Environmental groups have welcomed the ban, calling it a historic victory for ocean conservation. They urge governments to continue investing in sustainable alternatives and promote recycling of minerals to reduce the demand for ocean mining. This ban highlights the increasing global commitment to preserving the natural world and ensuring that future generations inherit a healthier planet.
You will listen to a 2 minutes video. Then 8 questions appear. Choose the best way to answer each question.
Welcome to our Biodiversity Forum. Today, we have 3 distinguished wildlife conservationists, Dr. Maya Singh, Professor Elena Torres, and Ms. Amina Okoro, joining us to discuss a critical topic, balancing ecotourism and habitat preservation in protected areas. Dr. Singh, could you start us off with your perspective?
Thank you. Ecotourism is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it generates vital funding for conservation projects and raises public awareness about the importance of protecting wildlife. On the other hand, if poorly managed, it can cause serious harm to habitats through trampling, pollution, and disturbance to animals. Therefore, managing visitor numbers is essential. We must establish strict limits on how many tourists enter sensitive areas, especially during breeding or migration seasons. Promoting responsible behavior, like staying on designated paths and minimizing noise, also helps reduce human impact.
I completely agree, Maya. Another important element is involving local communities. When people living near protected areas have a direct stake in ecotourism, they become powerful allies in conservation. Local guides, accommodations, and crafts all generate income that incentivizes protecting the environment. This reduces illegal hunting or logging since communities gain more from sustainable tourism than from exploiting natural resources.
Yes, community involvement is crucial. I'd like to emphasize education as well. Many tourists visit these areas without understanding their fragility. Providing informative tours led by trained naturalists can foster respect for nature. Educated visitors are more likely to follow rules and support conservation efforts even after their visit.
Absolutely. Infrastructure development needs to be carefully planned too. Roads, hotels, or visitor centers can fragment habitats and disrupt wildlife movement if placed indiscriminately. Using eco-friendly designs, limiting construction footprint, and situating facilities away from critical habitats can help reduce this impact.
Additionally, we have to protect species that are particularly sensitive to disturbance. For example, some birds and mammals may abandon nests or feeding areas if tourists get too close. Creating zones with limited or no access is necessary to ensure these species thrive.
And ongoing monitoring is key. Using technology like camera traps and GPS tracking, combined with ranger observations, helps us understand how tourism affects animal behavior. This data enables us to adjust policies to better protect habitats.
Absolutely. Infrastructure development needs to be carefully planned too. Roads, hotels, or visitor centers can fragment habitats and disrupt wildlife movement if placed indiscriminately. Using eco-friendly designs, limiting construction footprint, and situating facilities away from critical habitats can help reduce this impact.
Thank you all for your insightful contributions. It's clear that balancing ecotourism and habitat preservation demands careful planning, education, community engagement, and continuous monitoring to ensure both nature and people benefit.
Indeed. Conservation should always be the priority, but when done right, ecotourism can be an effective tool to protect biodiversity.
Absolutely. Protecting wildlife habitats is a shared responsibility, and ecotourism can help bring people together in this cause.
You will hear a report once. It is about 3 minutes long. Then 6 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question from the drop-down menu.
Night shift work has become increasingly common across many industries such as healthcare, manufacturing, transportation, and emergency services. While it allows businesses to operate 24/7 and provides workers with certain benefits like higher pay or daytime flexibility, it also has significant effects on social and family life, which deserve careful attention. One major issue highlighted by many researchers and workers is the disruption to family routines. Night shift workers often sleep during the day and work when most family members are awake, resulting in reduced opportunities for shared meals, conversations, and activities. This can lead to feelings of isolation both for the worker and their family members. For instance, children of night shift workers may miss out on parental support for homework or bedtime routines. Similarly, spouses may experience strain due to a lack of regular interaction and shared responsibilities. Socially, night shift workers may find it difficult to maintain friendships and participate in community events, which generally occur during the evening or weekend daytimes. Friends working typical day schedules may struggle to coordinate plans, leading night workers to experience social isolation or detachment from their peer groups. One nurse explained that she often misses social gatherings and family celebrations because she is sleeping or preparing for work, which can negatively impact her emotional well-being. Another viewpoint emphasizes the health implications that indirectly affect social and family life. Night shifts can cause sleep disturbances, fatigue, and increased stress, which may result in irritability and mood swings. These changes can create tension at home and reduce the quality of interactions with loved ones. Partners of night shift workers sometimes report feeling unsupported or burdened with more household duties, contributing to relationship difficulties. However, some workers find ways to adapt by establishing specific routines or relying on technology to stay connected with family and friends. For example, scheduling shared activities during off days or using video calls to maintain communication can mitigate some social challenges.